Seriously, this statement still stands. In fact, it's taller than ever before. There is only one Tesla. There is only one company in the world that can competently make EVs. Only one company that can make EVs at volume production. There is only one company that can make EVs at a profit. There is only one company that can deliver EVs with adequate range at an ICE price point without subsidies. There is only one company with a path to level 5 autonomy. There is only one company with an adequate charging network. There is only one company efficient enough at building EVs that can offer adequate range with low-cost LFP batteries. Tesla has no competition. That by definition means that there is no competition for Tesla. No one is taking away Tesla's sales. Everyone is coming up short. There's a certain tipping point that an EV must achieve before it becomes viable. You need to be able to make an EV with at least 250 miles of range, or potentially up to 300 miles, and you need to do this at the price point competitive with an internal combustion car like for like, at least if you want to hit the biggest auto markets. But you also have to make this car at this price point at a lower cost than you sell it for, whilst also leaving enough room to cover all your OPEX too. A lot of these EVs are actually making some gross profit, but after their OPEX kicks in, then the losses are huge. But if only they could scale up and make enough of them, then they could see a profit. Except the problem is that no one seems to be capable of ramping up production. Not only that, even if they did ramp up to a high enough level to crack a net profit, then you'd also have to find buyers for these cars. We don't hear about the 6-month waiting lists for an ID.4, and whilst Tesla is ramping up at an even higher stage. But you need to leave some decent profit, as after the sale, there's no major income, no servicing, no engine wear and tear, which is a lot of what legacy autos rely on. It's not enough to simply break even, although they may be able to still profit from some financing. So what are all these other EVs waiting on? What is the plan? Hang in long enough to build some market share until eventually the miracle that the industry needs is suddenly released and suddenly makes all electric vehicles profitable. And what might this miracle be? Perhaps a lower cost battery that actually delivers some decent range? Maybe it's going to come from an amazing company like QuantumScape. Well, even if QuantumScape released some incredible solid-state battery, then so what? For starters, it's going to be expensive and likely suitable for aircraft more than anything, as that industry could afford to pay more for such a battery, assuming that it's even more energy dense than whatever Tesla have created by then. At least to start with, as in case you haven't realized yet, well, battery ramping is not an over-the-night thing. Or are they hoping governments will cover them to this period? Or maybe the entire auto market just wants electric, and thus demand increases enough that EVs can raise their prices to become profitable. Also, remember that Tesla invented these absolutely incredible things called 4680 batteries. People don't give them anywhere near enough credit still, let alone the market, as if Tesla were not already doing as well as they are now. Well, these 4680 batteries are going to increase their margins perhaps a further 10%, going from 30% to 40%. I've been saying this for a while. Check some of my older videos, and now more people are starting to believe me. They thought I was too bullish before, but the math was so simple back then as it is now. Tesla will break 40% margins on their cars, and then with FSD it could be up to 50%. Not only that, Teslas are still a very good value car to buy, especially when you compare the cost of 5 years of ownership to an equivalent luxury car like a BMW. The Tesla is so much cheaper, and I'm not even factoring in the minimal depreciation you lose. What am I saying? More and more people will start to realize this, and demand will increase, and prices will keep rising, not to mention this insane demand jump we're about to witness with these tax credits. But Teslas are still scarce. They can only make so many, so there could be a huge wake-up where everyone frantically starts buying Teslas as they realize they are obviously the future. Everyone will want a Tesla, and they'll pay dearly for a used one too, because the waiting list is going to be long. Chip shortages will work themselves out, but batteries, well, there's not so many to go around. So Tesla's new 4680 batteries can be produced at 10 times the speed they can produce 2170 in about 1/10 the footprint, and at nearly 1/3 the cost. 4680 batteries still use nickel, and this is scarce. The reason the Chinese are making so many EVs because they skipped nickel batteries. All the Chinese EVs have insufficient range, and if their range even gets close to a Tesla, it has been overloaded with batteries, and is likely a dog to drive. Tesla absolutely destroy everyone in software, motors, drivetrain, and batteries already. No one is catching up. But Elon has now even started saying that they will make their own LFP batteries, which is something I was saying long before. It was just incredibly obvious. I even have a pretty certain idea of how they'll work too. Tesla created these amazing tabless batteries, the 4680s, that as a result can be manufactured at a much higher rate due to not having tabs. They also copied the bottling manufacturing facilities, as that was the fastest production line, implying they have to use cylindrical cell batteries, not prismatic, and certainly not pouches. I'm not sure enough people realize what this means. Sure, the battery production lines have been taking a really long time to set up and to get a high enough yield, but Tesla are achieving it. Also, we can't forget the dry battery electrode process too. I mean, the Kato Row facility has now been going for over a year and a half, and Tesla are still not ramping up their battery production yet. This means it's a huge barrier to entry and going to be incredibly difficult to replicate and possibly close to impossible without Tesla's help. As a result of all these great advances, Tesla are making 10 times as many batteries in 1/10 the footprint. I think this is the case. I've heard others say 100 times as many, but perhaps they're going by squared foot equivalent, which would be true. So just think about that. Tesla can make their batteries so much faster and so much cheaper than everyone else. Surely in a couple of years, Tesla will be up to 500 gigawatt hours of 4680 batteries. But Tesla also have their LFP batteries coming, which will likely be cylindrical and tabless too, but just a different form factor. The 4680 form factor was designed around thermal management, cost and longevity, or degradation. LFP batteries do not overheat to the same extent, and their cost is already low enough compared to nickel, and they are much more durable. They will use the ultimate form factor that provides as much range as possible, as in as much energy density as they can for their cars. They will also create another form factor that will be used for energy, where weight is not important. I expect it may be designed around price. LFP batteries do not degrade at close to the same rate as nickel. Tesla will use similar chemistry in their new LFP batteries as they used in the 4680 batteries, like silicon in the anodes. These batteries could be argued as one of the most important products ever to be invented. Tesla know this. They're taking their time. Elon says something like 3 out of 4 of their cars will use them. I think it may be over 80%. I can only imagine what the energy density on them will be. But if any other EVs need a chance to actually finally make a profit, these are the batteries they are truly waiting on. There is nothing else coming along. No one else understands batteries as well as Tesla. No one else has as good engineers as Tesla. No one else will benefit from better batteries as much as Tesla. No one has as much capital to invest as Tesla. No one else is as motivated with a mission as big as Tesla. They could end up getting down to about $30 a kilowatt hour. To give you an idea, a 2170 battery is still almost $150, and CATL's batteries are possibly at around $100. But remember the energy density too, as in you will need fewer batteries and thus it will weigh less. EVs are going to become absolutely amazing to drive the lighter they get, and when battery prices are low enough, then they'll be cheaper than ICE by a mile. Well, at least Tesla's EVs. Tesla will make so many of these batteries, it won't take long until it's outpacing the rate at which they can make cars, which means the energy business will finally be able to expand. There is no one else remotely close to Tesla. It doesn't matter who is telling you the Chinese are coming, they simply aren't going to eat any of Tesla's pie. Tesla can scale and keep eating everyone else's market share. The only competition will be if there are any companies that are smart enough to take on Tesla's FSD and their supercharger networks. But these batteries are such a competitive advantage, the competition really need to hope that Tesla will eventually offer them too, or could make some sort of platform for them to base their cars on. Keep watching the batteries. It's all about batteries. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.